The timber is also a hideaway for deer, bear, cougars, bobcats, and rattlesnakes. Of the forest birds, magpies and crows are most numerous. In addition to the valleys and streams, the forest offers the riches of Concanully, Osoyoos, and Lost Lakes, and a dozen more small concealed lakes. They are popular vacation spots where fishermen can catch rainbow trout varying in size from 10 ounces to 6 pounds. A quarter-mile beyond Ed's house stood a sign, "Welcome to Bonaparte, population 515. The citizens of Bonaparte provided services to valley inhabitants within a radius of 30 miles. They ran the bank, stores, clothing shops, pharmacies, movie theater, and a cattle auction, as well as the U.S. Forest Service office and the post office. The town was named for Mount Bonaparte, largest among the scoured rock monsters of the Okanogan Highlands, the old rounded mountains to the east. Bonaparte, with an elevation of more than 7,000 feet, asserts its authority over Phoebe Mountain, Spur, Strawberry, Buckhorn, Hull, Ruby, Buck, and all the others in the range. As he stood in the driveway, Ed noted fog on the face of Mount Bonaparte. Bill was still there with cows and late calves. Ed suspected that he should have helped drive the herd to the mountain range despite the protests of his son and his wife. Bill had no feeling for how cows were uneasy in fog. Eleanor, Ed's wife, had told him the night before, "I don't care when you get up, but I am not cooking breakfast until 7. Bill said he doesn't need you. They can get an earlier start if they don't have to wait for you." Bill and his family lived 10 miles up the highway on the river at what was still called the Johnston place after the first owner. The Lazy Ear corrals and feedlots had been at the Johnston place since Ed bought the homestead 40 years ago. He had discovered that Eleanor could not endure the proximity of the cow business, the bulls riding the cows, the uninhibited pissing and shitting. Fortunately, Bill's wife, who had grown up around livestock, seemed oblivious to the activities that bothered Eleanor. Ed lingered a moment. One old Tom Cougar, who lived in the middle of the shale and was getting stiff for overtaking wild deer, might try to sneak up on a calf, but trust Bill to have the 30-30 saddle carbine handy if necessary, sometimes even when it was not necessary. Ed turned his attention from the range and walked into the house. Throughout his adult life, Ed had lived in what was now pointed out as the first house in Bonaparte. As a bachelor homesteader, he had knocked together the first version from government sawmill scrap lumber. When he married, he hammered on an extra room and pantry, later sleeping quarters for his 2 boys. When his daughter was born, he paid a carpenter to add another bedroom. Eleanor construed as stubbornness Ed's attachment to the work of his own hands. Even though comparative prosperity now made a new house possible, Eleanor had been forced to settle for a remodeled one with an electric range and refrigerator. The piecemeal dwelling had been unified by the addition of a low porch on 3 sides of the house, landscaped in front with heavy sod and in back with a windbreak of Jonathan apple trees. The home was comfortable and even picturesque from the road. The lawn was watered by overflow from the irrigation ditch every 10 days. When the boys had lived at home, Eleanor had made them mow the lawn regularly, but now that they were in homes of their own, the grass grew 8 to 10 inches high before Ed hired a neighbor boy to cut it with a mulcher. Letting the grass grow was not negligence. Ed liked high grass. He was also proud of Eleanor's flower garden. Whenever he had the lawn chopped, he told the boy to cultivate the flower garden, too. Eleanor grew prize-winning gladioli and roses. Settled at the dining table in the L, Ed scanned the front page of the newspaper to which he had subscribed for as long as it had been delivered in the valley. Eleanor had 20 minutes to make good her promise.